are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm in San Diego right now. It's beautiful. We had a huge heat wave, but now it's starting to kind of calm down a bit. So really been enjoying these virtual interviews, and I'm excited to talk to you. I think it's super ironic, I guess, that you have your album hiatus, but honestly, you haven't really been taking a hiatus at all, even in the midst of the pandemic. So I'm wondering, has it been hard to balance, you of course want to be productive, but you also need, short hiatuses just to make sure you don't experience creative burnout. So I'm just wondering your experience with that.
Actually, yeah, just a couple months ago, I took a few months off of music, to be honest with you. I was just, in there every day for hours and hours and hours, and I just needed a little break. So I took a break and went on a motorcycle trip, went up to see my grandparents, just went to Whistler with my girlfriend for my birthday, so been kind of, keeping busy.
Yeah, it's so important to have a good balance of, writing, recording, all that, but also taking time for yourself. So I'm glad
Yeah,
you're able to go on a little trip. That sounds so fun. Um,
yeah.
and your most recent song, I feel like or I don't know if it's most recent. I'm talking about Runaway to the Summer. Is that considered
Yeah.
most recent? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I just came out with the EP, so it has Runaway to the Summer, Nobody Else, and No Love.
okay, got it. I feel like Runaway to the Summer, at least from what I've seen, is kind of the one that's been pushed the most, and kind of, it's obviously not released as a single, but it's kind of pushed that way.
Yeah.
Which I love. I think it's, we're all kind of trying to run away to the summer, yet this summer has been not super fun, so it's like, shouldn't we run back to like 2019 or something? But I think the whole idea of the song, at least what I got from it, it's kind of about this escape and going to a better place, a better time in your life where everything's carefree. So I'm wondering if the lyrics were inspired by any particular event in your life, or was it more hypothetical?
No, actually, like looking back on it, like I keep very busy. Like I'm always busy. I'm always working. I'm always doing something. Like either whether I'm in the studio or out working or whatever, I'm always busy. So it's nice, when you have those nights with the people that you love, and you just kind of like relax, and you don't have a worry in the world, and your phone stops yapping at you, and you know what I mean. You can just like get away, and it's even nicer when it's warm outside. So that's kind of where that came from. It's just like just picture like laying on the beach and just taking it easy.
Yes, yeah. I love that. I feel like, back to what I said in the beginning of the interview, it's so important to have those places that you can run away to, whether it's like figurative, whether it's a tangible place, whether it's something in your mind. So going off of that, when you are writing, is there a specific process you take? Are you one of those people who you need to write in a quiet room and kind of be in your own space? Do you thrive off of working in groups? How does that work for you?
I work a lot alone when it comes to writing. But for me, like I just started producing about a year ago. Like just started learning how to play the piano and everything. So I so now it's like, I'll write a beat, and my process has changed with that too. Like sometimes I'll write it horizontally, sometimes I'll stack everything up and then, kind of make a song out of that. And then I just usually go with the flow. Sometimes I write first, but most of the time I do the music first.
Wow. I never would have thought those processes would be flipped. So you write the music part and then you kind of think of the lyrics that would fit on top of that music.
Yeah, sometimes. Or if I have like a good hook or something like that, like usually I come up with that in the shower when I'm just sitting there, in the shower, just singing in the shower, and then usually I'll come up with a hook there, and then sometimes I'll build off that. But I really have no rhyme or reason as of yet. There's no dedicated way that I do it. I just kind of go with the flow, see what works.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important for artists. I'm obviously, you can attest to this more than I ever can, because I'm not an artist myself, but just from speaking to artists, being a huge fan of music, I feel like if you make it into something that is formulated and it's always the same, at this time I'm going to write, and then this time I'm going to record this, then I'm going to do the music, it feels more like a task, I would say, like some type of
Yeah.
task or schedule. So I like that you're so, you know, not carefree. Well, carefree, I guess, would be the right word. Carefree in the sense that you'll just kind of do what comes to mind, because I feel like that can be really hard for me sometimes to do.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, you burn yourself out. That's kind of why I took a break, because it was just like I wasn't coming up with any new melodies. It was just like the same thing, same thing, same thing. And then I took, like 2 months off, and then I just started sitting down at the piano without even like recording, and just started playing. And then that's where like the new inspiration comes in, you know what I mean? So you can't exhaust yourself by doing it the same way over and over and over again.
Yeah, doing it the same way and doing it, consistently. And I think maybe if you just want to reiterate that for other artists who might be watching, a lot of them, especially during quarantine, have told me that they want to stay productive because it's like, oh, I have no excuse not to be. I don't have to go to my day job, or I don't have concerts or rehearsals, and they
Yeah.
almost feel trapped, like I have to release everything, so.
Well, it's balanced because I mean, when you have the time, you want to go at it, right? But like, you only have so
um,
much creative energy, so it's about letting some of that go, and then you have to rejuvenate yourself. It's just like life; everything needs to be balanced out.
So important. I'm sorry, I feel like I made you talk about balance for like 5 minutes straight, but I think it's such an important point to bring home for everyone. That's the only reason I was doing it.
It
um,
is though, but we completely forget about it. Like, we're kind of forced to go to our job, pay our bills. It's just like there's always pressure. So now, like, people want to stay productive, but at the same time, like, also give yourself a little bit of time, because it's like when you grow up, it's like just work, work, and work, and work, and work. You know what I mean? So it's nice to just kind of like relax and take some time for yourself too.
Definitely, yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for driving that point home.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And of course we are in the middle of a pandemic, but I'm wondering, pre-pandemic, were you on tour? Did you have any fun plans that you're hoping to, obviously do a rain check on, and once it's safe, do again, or was that already part of your break where you weren't really doing any touring?
I toured a few years ago when I was like doing different music, but I'm actually taking the time now to learn like how to play and learn how to produce. And I'm taking it back a couple steps and actually like really putting my energy into that. I think the touring will come naturally when it's time to do so, but in this moment I don't have any plans to do that
Got
in
it. Well,
the near future. But like, down the road, once I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, then yeah, for sure.
where would your dream place be to tour?
I like hot places. And my music doesn't really fit it, but like, I kind of want to go to Ibiza, to be honest with you. Like, I think
To a
that would be
what?
a cool, to Ibiza.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've toured Europe once before. I did like I did Germany, and I did Vienna, and Denmark and Amsterdam and stuff like that, and it was great. It was great.
That
I had a
sounds
blast.
so fun. Well, unfortunately, I can never go to those places. Probably not anytime soon. But if you're ever in California, San Diego, LA area, I would definitely love to come see you. I actually was listening to your music and I was thinking I would love to see you collab with Whit Lowry. I don't know if you know who that is.
I
He's
don't.
so talented. It's insane. I don't want to say he started on SoundCloud, but a lot of his stuff is has millions of streams on SoundCloud. It's not on YouTube. But a lot of his music has similar messages to yours, but it's still it's still rapping with a mix of different melodies. So I was like envisioning it perfectly. So I urge you to look him up at the end of this interview. I think it would be
Yeah,
so cool.
I'll definitely look them up. I'll
Yeah,
definitely look them up.
he's awesome. I'm like dreaming about this now. Anyway, the reason I also bring him up is because his music does focus a lot on not necessarily hypothetical situations, but it has a big emphasis on imagination and deeper meanings, and I feel like you do that as well. So I'm wondering if that is something you've always consciously wanted to release stuff that has that deeper meaning, or if you started with more lighthearted stuff and then transitioned to more vulnerable stuff.
I've always had like the deeper meaning stuff. Like, that's just kind of naturally what comes to me. It's like stuff. A lot of music is like therapy. So like things that I've gone through, or like feelings that I felt, and like how I progressed out of certain situations. It usually ties into that in some way, shape, or form.
Got it. No, I love that, and I think it's important that we all, I feel like we're all, everyone can practice being more vulnerable. I guess I shouldn't say everyone, but I think it's so awesome that you found a way to do that, that is, that also works for you and is something you love, which is music, because not everyone has that talent. So I just wanted to applaud you on that, I guess. I
Well,
think it's
thank you.
so
Thank you.
important. Of course, of course. And another thing I wanted to touch on is being in the music industry. What would you say is the biggest challenge, especially considering, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not signed exclusively to a label, are you?
No,
You're
No.
not. So I guess being an indie artist, like what challenges come with that and what advantages do you see?
Oh, the whole thing is a challenge. There's tons of competition out there, and
Oh,
there's tons of people doing their thing. But I just, you know what? I just have fun with it. So I think for me, I have an A&R guy, and I think that's very important because when it comes to that, when it comes to like the online, when it comes to like doing all that technical stuff, I have no interest in doing that. So it's about building a team. So I actually have built myself like a good team. So it's about working with people that are encouraging and, you know, have advice and creative advice and know what to do in the situations that you don't. I think that's the hardest hurdle to cross because a lot of people out there, you'll pay them to do a job and they just won't do their job. They're like, oh, I can be a manager. Oh, I can be this, I can be that. And it's just like, no, you can't. You know what I mean? So like you really have to weed through a lot of people. But there's great people out there, and if you can find them, that's a golden ticket right there, I think.
yeah, I agree. I think there's unfortunately a lot of shady people in this industry who are just looking to make a quick buck and will tell you anything to have you sign with them or do like track with them or anything. So I'm glad you found a good team. Dave is awesome. Shout out to Dave Cornerman Music for setting this up, and he's super on top of it. So I'm glad you were able to find him to join your team. And yeah, thank you for explaining that it's not all butterflies and rainbows, unfortunately, in any aspects of the entertainment industry. So
No, and a lot of people, like, even if they're not shady, they're just like anybody else. They want to be in the industry. So they just try to work their way in. Like, usually when it's like artists that are like just coming up and like they're looking for a way to expand, they're like, oh, I can help you. But they don't really have any contacts and they can't really help you, but they just want to be involved somehow too. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So I mean, yeah, you get it kind of from all angles. You just have to be careful who you pay.
Yeah, and they almost want to shadow you, which I think is awesome. I think it's awesome to maybe shadow someone at a session or, you know, do an interview like this that's kind of just informational. How'd you get your start? What advice do you have for me? But at the same time, you know, don't make false promises, I guess.
Yeah, for
About
sure.
it.
For sure.
And something I always like to ask artists when I'm interviewing them, it's something I've done fairly new, and I'm like, I love this question because the answers are always great. If you were a fan of your own music, you were listening to yourself, but you were not yourself, this is trippy. Which song do you think you would feel most connected to?
Right now it's Runaway to the Summer. But to be honest with you, like I'm always super connected with the songs while I'm making them.
Mm,
And then sometimes you put so much into it, you're like, I need to put this on the back burner for a couple weeks or a couple months. And then you listen to it again, you're like, okay, now I can like relive that joy. But like sometimes there's a lot that goes into it and a lot of like opening back up and going in and like switching little things. And
mhm.
it can be very meticulous. So sometimes you need a break. But right now, I think the one that I'm feeling the most is Runaway to the Summer.
Nice. Yes, me too. I love hearing that a song that you wrote, you're still so connected to and could have helped you through a hard time or you just like jamming to. That's partly why I asked that question. I think that artists don't always give themselves enough credit. So you just proved like your music has helped other people and could help you as well. So
Yeah.
and another thing I always like to ask artists is who would you say is your main demographic, your main audience, and who do you hope to expand to in the future?
I want to expand to everybody. I mean, like, I like to make good vibe music. I don't like,
Mm.
I don't make anything that's like too sad or too down or whatever. And I would just like to just jam with whoever wants to jam with me. To be honest with you, doesn't
Oh,
matter the age group. Doesn't matter the age group.
I love that. And who would be your dream collab?
I don't know. I don't know. Um, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. Who would I like to write with? I would
Sure.
actually like to write with Dermot Kennedy. Actually,
Okay. Nice.
like not like that's not my style that I make, but I really appreciate that, and I think he's got amazing writing.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's so important to work with people who you wouldn't think to work with, and you wouldn't
Yeah,
think, oh, well, this would be a good collab necessarily. Obviously, it would, but super important to expand your horizons. So
yeah, for sure. I think he's
hopefully
super talented.
hopefully that could happen. I'll send it to him, or I'll put him in the tags or something. Um, well, thank you so much for this interview. I have a couple more questions. Are you good on time? I know I went over, so I wanted to make sure. Okay. I'm sure you've answered this a million times, but how did you come up with your name Poppyseed for music?
That, to be honest with you, was a nickname that I was given a long time ago when I was a rapper, and it kind of just stuck.
I love it.
So we were just rolling with it. We're
Got it.
just
No,
rolling.
I love it. And we can find your music just under Poppyseed, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
typing in Poppyseed Nick. I was typing in like your real last name, and I was like, no, it's just Poppyseed. How convenient.
Yeah.
And going off of that, do you just want to shout out all your social media as well as just a little soundbite, I guess, that your music is available on all streaming platforms?
Yeah, my music's available on all streaming platforms, and then it's my Instagram is Poppyseed Music. No, sorry, the real Poppyseed.
The real Poppyseed. Okay, and then Twitter. Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, it's under Poppyseed.
Okay,
And then same thing with Spotify.
perfect.
Just Pop. Yeah.
Awesome. And then lastly, any music in the near future you want to plug?
I've got 2 songs written right now, and I'm working on the third one for another EP, which I'm really excited about, actually.
A second EP already. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It'll take a while to come out, though, but I mean, like, yeah. So I've written them at home, recorded them at home, so they may take them to the studio and then go through the whole process of releasing them. So probably a couple months away, but I'm stoked.
Still, that would be 2 EPs in 1 year. So that's insane. Good for you.
I think that would be 3.
3. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
averaging an EP like every 4 months. That's insane. Lots of
Yeah,
new music we can look forward to then.
for sure. For sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your interview. And again, sorry for the technical difficulties. And hopefully, when I'm back in LA, you're in LA and it's safe, I'd love to do something in person. Maybe like backstage at one of your shows or a studio
That'd be amazing.
session, a little follow-up interview. I would love to.
That'd be amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.